Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to a brand new video here to the channel. Today, we're going to be doing the live worm versus artificial worm fishing challenge. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, so right here, I have a few live worms that I just dug up from my backyard. That's going to be the first part of this challenge. The second part is going to be these artificial worms. These are just regular finesse worms, Googan baits, dragon drops. I've also got a few stick baits, other larger finesse worms, just in case these don't work. But basically, what we're going to be doing today is giving each of these 20 minutes to not only catch the most fish, but also catch the biggest fish. Those are going to be the kind of two criteria we're going to today. So let's rig up these artificial worms to start out. Start up a 20-minute timer. Let's see how many fish and how big of a fish we can't catch. Let's get right into it. All right, so first up, we have the little artificial worm. Like I said, this is just a little Googan baits dragon drop. I do have a few other options. I've got a few stick baits, longer finesse worms, like I said. But we're going to start out, since half of the challenge is going to be 4 numbers. Let's start out with something small, especially because we're fishing a pretty small pond, and it's going to get up into the 90s as we go through the day. So it's going to be pretty hot. So let's start out with this little bait. Try to get on a few little fish, and then maybe we'll even switch up to one of those other baits. Oh, that's first cast. One just went right down to it. But as I was saying, let's get on a few fish first. And then we can worry about getting on that kind of kicker maybe in the last few minutes of this 20 minutes that we have for the finesse worm. So I'm just going to start out kind of up shallow, seeing if there's any fish that are a little bit more aggressive before it gets too hot. But then I'll kind of work my way down to some deeper areas. That's fish. He's got it. Got it. There we go. Oh, it's a little guy. That's first one of the day, though. It counts. There's no size limit for this little challenge. Made a terrible cast about a foot in front of me. And, of course, I cast back in there, and that is possibly one of the smallest bass that I've ever caught. But that is number 1. Let's get him back quickly, get back in there, hopefully find a little bit bigger one. But that's important. Number 1 for the artificial worm right here. All right, guys, future 10-pounder right there. Let's get him back. There he goes. Right where he should have been. I mean, there's this fallen tree. There's a little bit of timber in the water. This is a shaded area from some of these overhanging trees. And there's a little bit of grass. It's exactly where a fish should be. And of course, he was there. Not quite as big as I had hoped, but there's number 1. We still got a good amount of time left in this. 20 minutes, so it only took maybe a few minutes away from this challenge. This reel has almost no line on it. You also might be wondering why I'm using a 4,000 size spinning reel to throw a tiny wacky rig in a tiny pond. The answer is I'm not sure. Oh my God. Bluegill cranked it. Oh, yep. A little bass took it. Another little guy. See if he fully has it. Yep. Wow. It's not much of an upgrade. I mean, it's slightly better. Not necessarily the size we were looking for once again, but it is a slight upgrade from our first fish. This is not going to win for size, but that is number 2 on the little artificial wacky rig right there. Let's get him back. All right, guys, number 2. Let's get him back. There he goes. Pretty cool little eat there. I mean, just walked about maybe 20, 30 feet down the bank, and they're in a very, very similar area to where we caught that first fish, in the sense that there's a little bit of fallen timber in the water. We've got a little shade from overhanging trees. I mean, structure, shade, cooler water, that's going to be exactly where these fish are. At least that's what it seems like, especially as it gets hotter throughout the day. There's number 2. Once again, no medal for size, but I will take it. Still got probably about half, maybe a little bit more of our time left. So let's get right back in there. Yep. He's got it. There's a bigger one. I don't know how big he is, but he's definitely better. Definitely a better fish. Not terrible. That's definitely the best one on the day. Get over here, buddy. Wow, he is fighting. never had just a, I mean, it's not a giant, but it's just a little guy. He absolutely ran with that. Pretty cool little fish, I'll take it. There's number 3 on the day. Absolutely destroyed it right where he should have been, in this little shaded spot. Absolutely cranked it. I mean, not a giant. He's probably maybe just over a pound. Nice chunky little fish. Well, guys, a little bit nicer fish. That's number 3. As soon as it hit the water, he cranked it. I mean, for his size, he fought pretty dang hard. That's definitely an upgrade for the biggest one of the day. We're going in the right direction, at least. Let's get him back. Let's get a nice little release on this guy. There he goes. That's pretty sick. I'll take it. We're at least moving up a little bit. Like I said, not a giant. I'm not sure if that is going to win it for us, or win it for the artificial lure, but that is number 3 and the biggest fish of the day. We're trending in the right direction, at least in size of fish. And we still got quite a bit of bank to work with. Not a whole lot of time taken off the clock for those 3 kind of first fish of the day for this artificial bait. So let's get back in there. It's a step in the right direction. Let's find an even bigger one now. Whoa. Oh my God, that's crazy. That bluegill blew up on my line. Oh, something took it. Something took it. He still have it? Yeah, he's got it. Got it. Yep. Another little guy. Another little guy. Wow. We're going back down, but that was 2 casts after that last fish. A bluegill blew up on my line, and of course, this little guy absolutely cranked it. Absolute tank right there. That's number 4, though. Let's get him back. All right, number 4. We're going back down a bit. I mean, this pond has some big fish in it, but it seems like the most aggressive fish, the fish up shallow, are some of these smaller ones. I think I'm definitely going to switch up to something slightly bigger, fish some of that deeper water for maybe kind of a big bite that I know is lurking in this pond. I know there's big fish, but that is number 4. We've got 1 at least okay fish, especially for a small pond, and we've got 4, so not too bad, especially since we've only worked a really small portion of this bank. Let's get right back in there. That's fish. That was a bite. Oh my God. Watch this, watch this. Take it. That is, no way. No way. That was so cool. There was this little tiny bass. Once again, I am not sure what is happening with the size here today, but that is what, number 5 on the day? Somehow we've gotten even smaller. He cranked it though. That was a pretty sick little bite. Let's throw him back. There he goes. Watch this. This is going to be so cool. Oh, whoa, that was so cool. I just saw that bass eat something on top. Let's see if he comes back around and takes this bait. I saw, I mean, albeit not a very big bass, but still a decent little fish. Just right on, kind of swimming right along the top. Some ate that. I've got a fish on. Yep, got it. I don't know if this is the same fish. Probably not. I think the other one was just a little bit bigger, but I saw him kind of going along the side. And of course, he went right up to a little patch of grass. I think he blew up on a little insect. That is number 6. Another little guy, but I'll take it. Let's get him back. There he goes. Let's get another one. All right, guys, so the time is up for the artificial worm. Next up, we've got the live worms. Like I said, these are worms that I actually dug up from my backyards. These are pretty much as fresh as you can get. They've been sitting in the sun for a bit, but they're still gonna be pretty lively. I've rigged up just a little octopus hook, as you can see right there. I've put a little piece of a worm on there, and let's see if we can't catch more than the 6 fish we caught with the artificial, and probably that, what, just over 1 pounder I'd give it, which was the biggest one for the artificial worm. So I don't think it's gonna take very long to get on a fish. I'm just free lining this for now, but I might add a weight or a bobber or something to this if I find that I want to get out just a little bit farther. But we're gonna start out up shallow and we're gonna see what kind of fish we can't catch on this. I'm sure we'll catch quite a few fish, but I feel like big fish could definitely also eat this. Yep, one's got it. He ate it. Yep, got him. There we go. That did not take long. Just a little pumpkin seed. I knew that was not going to take very long for, wow, aggressive little fish. I knew that was not going to take very long for someone to take these artificial, or these live worms. Just a little bluegill. I'm sure we'll get on at least a few bass and maybe something bigger in here. But that will be number one. Not the biggest fish. It's not going to overtake that other bass we caught with the artificial, but that is number one with the live worm. Let's get him back. All right, there's number one. That's a nice looking little bluegill right there, healthy fish. There he goes. Came right back over to this side with a little bit of shade and just a little bit of structure. And of course, did not take very long. That is number one, only really a couple minutes in. So let's get back in there. I'll have to rig up another worm and see if we can't find some big fish with this. Oh my God, there's so many fish right here. This is gonna be instant. I'm just gonna drop it in there. Watch this. Yep, got it. Oh my God, that is instant. As soon as that bait hit the dang water. I knew it. I mean, I saw some of these bluegill. I mean, some of those bluegill might even be on beds. And of course, wow, look at the coloration on that fish. That is pretty insane. Let's see if I can't show you guys in the light kind of what that fish looks like. Look how bright that side of that fish is. It's almost teal. That is incredible. Anyway, number two. Let's get this guy unhooked. That did not take very long. There he goes. That's pretty sick. All right. I'm not going to take too many casts in there. It does look like, even though it is pretty late in the year, there are a few bluegill beds right there. So I don't want to take too many casts on top of that spawning area. I'm sure I could catch quite a few more. Let's move over a little bit. But number two, once again, did not take very long. I think we're definitely going to put on maybe a little weight, put on a little bit more chunky piece of worm, maybe cast this out to the middle, see if something eat it. There are carp in here. So obviously live worms is not necessarily the best bait for carp, at least in my experience, but it does work pretty well, especially in the summer, just putting that bait on the bottom. Anyway, let's get back in there. Number two, good little fish. Oh, it is so instant. It is just so instant with these bluegill. I mean, I was kind of hoping that there might be some other fish eating, but I mean, these bluegill are just all over the worms every single time it goes in the water. All right, number three. We're about halfway through our time. It's been about 15 minutes. I think I am going to switch up once I make a little bit more of a rotation around this pond and try to find one of these bigger fish, maybe a carp, like I said, in some of that deeper water on a bottom rig. Yo, I see fish in this creek. I hear fish busting in this creek. We've got a little piece of worm on there. Oh, they're bass. They're all bass. Something's got to come out and take that. Some's got it. Something took it. We got him. Oh my God. We got him. Oh my God. What is this? Is this a creek chub or a bass? That's pretty sick. It's a little creek chub. It is so small. It's a good thing we're using these tiny little octopus hooks. Look at this tiny little creek chub. Let's get this guy up and back in the water. All right, guys. Well, that is species number 3 for the day. And number 4, wow, there are some big fish out there. Some bigger bass and bluegill. I'm sure creek chubs. But that is fish number 4 on just a little live worm. I just walked down to this creek. I heard something kind of bust on top of course, I kind of walked down here, see what's going around. I saw a decent sized bass kind of rolling up this creek. And then of course, that little creek chub and there's some bluegill were all over the bait as soon as it hit the water. Definitely have to come back here another day and maybe try to catch some of these bigger bass that are in here, because I did see a nice fish that was probably close to 2 pounds, which for a creek this size, it's a decent little fish. This is a tiny little creek. I know we've had a bunch of flooding, so it looks a little bit bigger in this area, but for the majority of this creek, it's probably only, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet across. So there are just a ton of fish in here though. Anyway, let's get back in there. That's pretty cool. All right, guys, so I just went back up, checked the time, and it looks like we only have about 5 minutes left for, oh, there's a nice little fish from this creek. But it looks like we only have about 5 minutes left for this little, yep. Nice sized bluegill just went over to it. Yep, that's the biggest bluegill of the day out of this little creek. That's a big bluegill right there. Wow, that's a nice sized bluegill right there. I mean, not the biggest one I've ever caught, but that is a solid bluegill out of this tiny little creek. That is crazy. Oh my gosh, that is a tank of a bluegill. I mean, it's not going to be the biggest fish of the day, but that is a giant, I mean, not a giant, but a nice sized bluegill. Really nice pink colorations on him. Let's get him back. All right, guys, that's cool. I believe that's number 5. Let's get a nice little release on this guy. Whew. They fight hard in this little creek. There's a little bit of current. Makes them fight just a little bit harder. But anyway, like I said before I was so rudely interrupted by that fish, we've got about 5 minutes left. I kind of came down to this creek to explore it and wasted a little bit of time, if you want to call it that. So we are 1 fish behind with the little live bait. I think I'm going to stay at this creek because I did see some actually decent sized fish, and there's a lot of activity. If you want to see me come back down to this creek, make sure you comment that down below. I'll definitely come back down here, maybe bring some other little bass sticks, maybe a little Ned rig, some small paddle tail swim baits could also work pretty darn well in here. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking here. Let's get in there. And maybe there's some big fish in here that I can catch with the live bait. This looks like a nice spot. Oh my God, something ate that. Got him. What is this, a bass or a creek chub? I think it's a little bit bigger creek chub. That's pretty sick right there. That's cool. It's a little bit bigger creek chub, absolutely killed it. That does tie up the game. That is number 6 for numbers on the live worm. And that is a little bit bigger creek chub there. That's actually pretty sick. Let's throw this guy back. There he goes. I've been seeing a few fish kind of right up in this grass, so I kept walking up this creek, and finally I found one that was going to be willing to bite. Little creek chub, I'll absolutely take that. Pretty sick little eat on the live worm. Don't have really much worm left. I left my worms kind of back a little ways, but probably have maybe 1 or 2 minutes left, so let's see if we can't get on one more fish to win at least the numbers for the live bait, the live worms. All right, let's dump this in there. Let's dump out some of the dirt here. One little last piece of worm. Let's see if I can't get this out to a fish. Yep. Oh, they're going crazy for it. That's pretty sick. Anyway, all right, we've emptied out the worms. That means that this challenge is officially over. We give it 30 minutes for each one of the baits, the artificial worm as well as the live worms. We ended up with, honestly, a pretty surprising result, that being a tie, 6-6 in numbers for both of the baits. And not as surprising, we have a win for the artificial worm in size. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy. It's definitely getting a bit hot. My GoPro is having a tough time staying cooled down and not overheated. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Comment down below what you want to see next. Maybe come out down to this creek for some bigger fish if we kind of explore the whole thing. Maybe find some deeper spots. Anyway, comment down below what you guys want to see next. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.